So Nancy Pelosi's fantastic. You know this, right?
By the day, just gets better and better.
She's a capitalist to her bones, right? And that's just the way it is. I mean, Elizabeth Warren's capitalist to her bones.
Yes.
Nancy
and
Pelosi,
that's just the way it is.
She's just a capitalist, and that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way it is, so stop it. We're not ever listening to you or changing, so just shut up, right?
Absolutely.
So Ben Norton caught this. He says, according to Nancy, we're capitalists, and that's just the way it is, Pelosi. Selling lies to justify an illegal war of aggression isn't an impeachable offense, but Trump's calls the Ukraine are. Says everything about how little neoliberal Dems care about war. So here, by the way, doesn't she look like she's getting ready to do a tooth polishing commercial?
Yes, she does.
It's a great feeling. Remember that?
I like to lie with my pearly whites.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give away the ending right now. Spoiler alert. Why didn't Nancy Pelosi? So Nancy Pelosi wants to impeach Trump, but she didn't want to impeach George Bush, who lied us into a legal war, ordered torture to cover it up. Why wouldn't you want to impeach George Bush? Here's why. This says member briefings on enhanced interrogation techniques, EITs, which means torture. So this is the CIA briefing members of Congress that they're torturing people, that they're breaking the Constitution, the Geneva Convention, and international law. That's the CIA informing, and who did they inform? Well, let's see. This is from September 4th, 2002. Briefing on torture, including the use of torture on Abu Zubaydah, background on authorities, and a description of the partial torture that had been employed. This was on September 4th.
The particular EITs that have been...
the particular EITs that have been employed. Who did they tell? Nancy Pelosi. They told Nancy Pelosi in 2002 that they were torturing people, that they had a torture program that was a war crime, breaks the Constitution, Geneva Conventions, and the international law. She knew it, that her government was doing this, and she didn't do anything, which makes her complicit in war crimes. And now you know why George Bush was never impeached by Nancy Pelosi, or even had a hearing, which is why when Nancy Pelosi took over the Congress in 2006, and they were like, oh, finally we can impeach this warmonger, she was like, impeachment's off the table. And everybody was like so dejected, like, what? But we were just so glad to finally have a check on Bush's power that nobody did anything about it. Everybody just let it go. Well, the reason why people let it go is because the media sets the agenda in America. And the media didn't tell anybody about this. You know who did? Julian Assange. And now you know why they're trying to kill Julian Assange. Because he exposes them for being war criminals. All of them. And so here's Nancy Pelosi getting asked, hey, if you want to impeach Donald Trump, how come you didn't impeach Bush?
Speaker Pelosi, you resisted calls for the impeachment of President Bush in 2006 and President Trump following the Mueller report earlier this year. This time is different. Why did you oppose impeachment in the past? And what is your obligation to protect our democracy from the actions of our president now?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up the question about, because when I
Now watch how much she talks without answering the question. Now watch this. So that's how you know she's guilty.
Speaker the first time, there was overwhelming call for me to impeach President Bush on the strength of the war in Iraq, which I vehemently opposed. And again, I said at other places, that was my wheelhouse. I was intelligence. I was the ranking member on the Intelligence Committee, even before I became part of the leadership of Gang of Four. So I knew there were no nuclear weapons in Iraq. It just wasn't there. They had to show us, they had to show the Gang of Four all the intelligence they had. The intelligence did not show that that was the case. So I knew it was a misrepresentation.
Misrepresentation.
What? Not a lie. Isn't that interesting? So I knew it was a misrepresentation. Not a lie.
Not a crime.
It wasn't a crime. You knew it was a war crime?
It was a goof.
So you knew it was a war crime at the time, but you're going to say a misrepresentation. Okay, here we go.
The public. But having said that, it was in my view, not a ground for impeachment. They won the election. They made a representation, and to this day, people think that that it was the right thing to do. If people think that Iraq had something to do with 9/11, I mean, it's a
So people think that Iraq had something to do with 9/11. Why didn't you impeach President Bush? She still won't say, right? Has she said why yet?
No, she has not said why yet.
She hasn't. She won't say it. None of this is an excuse. Well, she said, well, they ran an election and they won. So I figured, didn't Trump just run an election? Isn't there going to be another election in like 5 minutes that you could wait for? So your big thing about letting people decide, again, is situational. You let the people decide when you're implicated in war crimes. And when you're not implicated in war crimes, you go after the president.
What they did. But I did, and I said, if somebody wants to make a case, you bring it forward. But they had impeached Bill Clinton for personal indiscretion and misrepresenting about it. Impeached him. Somebody
she just won't say lie.
Yeah, she won't say it.
They impeached him for personal indiscretion and for lying under oath while he was a sitting president. That's what he was impeached for lying on camera under oath while he was a sitting president. That's what he got impeached for.
Nancy Pelosi loves to bring up religion when it's convenient for her, so I'll remind her that the Bible doesn't say thou shalt not misrepresent. That's not in there.
Same people are saying, oh, this doesn't rise to impeachment. We're right there impeaching Bill Clinton for being stupid in terms of something like that. I mean, I love him. I think he was a great president. But being stupid in terms of that.
To tell me, Nancy Pelosi, that you love him and he was a great president already tells me all I need to know.
Right. He was a horrible president. He wrecked our country.
He exploded our prison.
He exploded the prison population, gutted welfare, and then he deregulated Wall Street, which crashed our economy within 10 years. What else do you need to know about that guy? And he cut the legs out from underneath the unions with NAFTA. What else do you need to know about that guy? We would have been better off in electing Bob Dole. We would have. Bill Clinton was the worst evil.
Yes.
Bill Clinton was the greater evil. Did you know that?
He's the enemy of the poor.
He's the enemy of everybody.
A struggling class for sure. And that Nancy Pelosi will tell me with a straight face, she's saying right now, come on, that didn't really rise to the occasion of somebody who should be impeached. Okay, let's pause there. How about George W. Bush? That doesn't rise to the occasion of impeachment?
She didn't talk about it. She won't talk about it. Well, let's listen to the rest of what she says.
And what would somebody do not to embarrass their family? But in any event, and that's so they did. Bill Clinton. Now they want me to do George. I just didn't want it to be a way of life in our country.
She won't say George Bush.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. She just didn't want it to happen too much.
Oh, so if we would have, if the Republicans would have did an impeachment trial for Obama, you wouldn't be impeaching Trump now because you don't want to happen. Does anyone believe her and your whole thing is that Trump is a liar and you guys aren't. That's your whole thing. And every time you talk, you're lying. So that's what drives me nuts when people talk about, Trump's a liar. Is anybody a bigger liar than Nancy Pelosi, who wouldn't prosecute war criminals just because she didn't want it to become an every type thing?
Well, the fact that she's getting some backlash for it kind of proves once and for all that a bunch of really bad excuses don't make a good one.
Yeah.
You can string them together as much as you want. They're still all really bad excuses and not the truth.
And not the truth. So if they would have impeached George Bush, we wouldn't have Donald Trump. Because we would have had a leader, the Democratic leader, wouldn't have been complicit in war crimes. And maybe we could have had some actual governing. Probably not. So again, Donald Trump made possible because of the corruption the unbelievable corruption in the Democratic Party. Nancy Pelosi's implicated in war crimes, which is why George Bush walks the earth. Because she's complicit in war crimes. But she's got to get Donald Trump for a phone call to Ukraine. Oh, thank God George Bush didn't call Ukraine, because then she would have had to impeach him, and then it would have been, like an everyday normal part of life. When a president does a war crime, you got to impeach him. That's really your defense? That I didn't want to impeach a president who committed war crimes because we impeached Clinton. That's what she's saying.
Public would have been tired of it.
Yeah,
They've been like, come on, we can't keep. Sure, those were war crimes, and our brothers and sisters and sons and daughters are over there fighting for no reason. But we did it to the last guy. We got to rest.
And by the way, maybe when I'm her age, I'll be speaking like my teeth are about to fall out of my mouth too. But that's how she speaks. She can't speak clearly. She can barely string together 2 sentences. Can anybody think that she's a clear speaker? She's supposed to be a leader. This is like she has the communication skills of somebody in a call center in another country. This is unbelievable. I don't know what she's saying.
Well, she starts her she'll start her sentence and then she'll pause and then she'll gather her talking point and then kind of spew it out, and she gets it from the talking point fact sheet or whatever it is they have, and then she rinses and repeats.
And I just want everybody to remember that I'm a master legislator
The best.
there, and I lost 1,000 seats, but it wasn't mine.
And what is her master legislation from this congressional?
She's a fundraiser.
I know.
That's it.
That's her thing.
So is there anything more to this? Let's see.
As far as the Mueller report, there was a good deal of the academics said.
Well, she can't even talk.
And this is on regular speed, everybody.
This is on regular speed. This is her normal voice. She's the 3rd most powerful person in the world.
This video is on regular speed, and quite possible so is she. That's it.
Well, I was talking the Mueller. That's how she talks normally. I'm not kidding. This is a big deal that she talks like that.
Yes.
I brought it up before, but this is unbelievable that everybody in the country looks the other way, that Nancy Pelosi can't talk clearly.
And I'll tell you, we've talked about this before. Like, if you had to, all of a sudden I had to wake you out of bed and you could do your set. You could do your...
If you had to wake me up out of a sound sleep, I could do my 45-minute headline set.
And if you were running for office, I bet you could tell me your platform.
I could tell my stump speech. If you woke me out of a sound sleep, I can give you my stump speech.
And if we were to ask Nancy Pelosi, what did the Democrats stand for?
She would stammer like she does all the time. A better. We're for good
not
jobs.
Trump.
We're for good jobs, and that's how she talks.
And this president, and then she'd just be done.
Yeah,
Do the end of it. Well, do you remember? What's the movie World Police, the South Park movie, the first one that they made?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the end where the Alec Baldwin's character is being proven wrong, so he just starts saying a bunch of buzzwords?
Yes.
And he's just like, but democracy and freedom, and he's just saying a bunch of words. That's what she reminds me of.
Yes.
Like that end scene where it's they don't really have anything to say, so they just start spewing out buzzwords.
The academics said, and 1,000 legal experts wrote a statement that said the Mueller report is an what's in there is an impeachable.
She does sound drunk all the time.
What's in there is impeachable. 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 Peach.
You gotta impeach it, or it impeaches you. There's 1,000 things in there.
1,000.
1,000 seats. I mean, legal experts. 1,000.
It wasn't so much of what's in the Mueller report will be more clear once some of the court cases are resolved, but it wasn't so clear to the public. The Ukraine just removed all doubt. It was self-evident that the president undermined our national security, jeopardized the integrity of our elections, as he violated his oath of office. There's just, that's something that cannot be ignored.
You know what's
But she can't ignore war crimes. She can
Yes.
ignore an illegal invasion of Iraq, which kills 1 million people. She can ignore a lot of stuff, but she can't ignore a phone call to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now you know why the Democrats don't mind losing. Again, this is the leader, and Ocasio-Cortez voted for her to be the leader. This is their leader. And by the way, they voted for her after she shifted right. After Nancy Pelosi moved to the right, all the Democrats voted for her. All the progressives, they voted for her. Big mistake. Big mistake. Because she's gonna move to the right next time. And they're gonna move to the what the fuck are you doing? And what has Nancy Pelosi done to oppose Trump this congressional session? What has she done? They funded his border wall. What has she done to stand up against them? He got his tax cut through. They're fast tracking his judges.
Gave him the Patriot Act.
Gave him the Patriot. He gave him more spying powers. How are they opposing him? They're not opposing Trump. You know why they're not opposing Trump? Because they are the establishment, and they would have to oppose the establishment to oppose Trump because that's who Trump represents.
Just listen to 1,000 legal experts. You'll see how I'm opposing him. I mean, you're opposing him.
Yeah.
That's great.
Imagine Nancy Pelosi actually drunk. Can you imagine that? I can't even remember.
I'd imagine it'd be very similar.
Yes.
At least I'd hope so. I'd be really concerned otherwise.
I mean, isn't it be funny we find out she starts the day with a quart of vodka? Isn't that going to be funny when we find that out?
She can afford it.
Yeah. I know people who start the day with a quart of vodka, and they function.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Oh, my God. Is that a conspiracy theory that Nancy Pelosi starts the day with a quart of vodka? Oh, my God. That's a crazy conspiracy theory.
Listen to this soundbite I got.
This crazy conspiracy theory.
I grabbed it off the internet because I'm an activist.
Come see our live show. We're going to be in Honolulu on December 27th. We'll be in Portland, Oregon, and then we go to Tempe, Arizona, San Jose, California, Sacramento, Miami. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our live shows coming to a town near you, and become a patron or support the Jimmy Dore Show. We give you hours of bonus material every week. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com, become a premium member. Thanks for your support.